feel like if Mariana scores, she probably will end up celebrating, or if she doesn't, she might just be stood there like, guys, that happened. All the players will be around her celebrating. Welcome back to the Arsenal Humans podcast with me, Luce. I hope you're all good. I mean, to be fair, as a Gooner, if you are a Gooner, obviously, I feel like I've got a few people that watch that aren't. But if you are, it's been a pretty decent week. I mean, we've won 100% of our games because we've actually only played one. So this episode will be quite brief compared to other ones because we only have one game to reflect on. But we have 2 games to look to, which are actually the last 2 games of the 24-25 season, which is crazy. I feel like it's gone super quick. So before I waffle, let's get into the warm-up polls. Yes, there are 2 once again because I thought both the men and women deserve their own one as we head into the final week of the 24-25 season. Okay, so the first warm-up poll that I said was, has Rice been Arsenal's best player this season? Obviously for the men's side. The poll results show 86% of you said yes, 14% of you said no. I'm going to have to agree once again with the majority because for me, he's been our best player. The impact he's had in games, he's pulled through in crucial games. I mean, I think it's got to be obvious for everyone that when Rice scored those 2 unreal free kicks against Real Madrid, that was the highlight of the season for Arsenal fans. But let alone like him as a player, like that, it just shows exactly why, in my opinion, he's the player of the season. I don't see anyone else coming close to it. I think Ødegaard, he's had his moments, but his form has dipped completely compared to the last few seasons. Raya's had a good season as well, to be fair, but I just feel like Rice has stood out. It has sort of been a little bit dependent on who's in the team with him, because when he's usually had Partey behind him, he's been able to progress forwards up the pitch, which obviously is why he's able to score those goals. I mean, just then at the weekend, I'm going to get into it in a bit more detail in about 2 minutes if you fast forward. He obviously scored at the weekend as well against Newcastle, which was another crucial game. I just feel like he really picks up and shows in those moments, but also him off the pitch. He seems like such a nice guy. I feel like he does a lot of our social media content output, so he's involved in a lot of reels, both with the women's side, so you see him a lot of Russo, but also just him in general. I mean, we've had the new Arsenal shirt unveiled. Let me know your opinion on that one as well, guys, because I'm obsessed. I love the A's on the shirt. It looks very nice. Hopefully we'll get my hands on one very soon. We'll have to wait and see, because see what the bank is saying about that one. But he's just like, he did a video about that shirt reveal. He's very charismatic. He's also a leader, both on and off the pitch as well. How he talks in his press conferences. I think he just comes across as a really nice guy and an all-rounder as a player. Because obviously he can defend, he can attack, he can score goals. In those big moments, like I've said, I feel like I could sing his praises all day, give him all the flowers he deserves, because Rice deserves a lot of flowers this season. And yeah, basically that's why I have to completely agree that Rice is the player of the season for us, for the men's side anyways. Obviously I will get into the women's side at some point later on. I'm thinking next week I might do like a whole season reflection, so reflect fully on the men's and women's side, but I just thought because Arsenal put up like this slow-mo video, which I feel like they've done quite a bit for a few of the goals now, which looks so cool. It's so cinematic. They put up his goal and I was like, oh, that's kind of like sparked the conversation of he has been our best player, like he's pulled through. So yeah, obviously argue in the comments if you disagree, but I just feel like for me he's one of our most consistent players, and when he has a bad game, I mean, if you're listening on Spotify right now, I'm literally doing, what is it, like the quote unquote marks with my hands, because I feel like his bad games aren't even bad games compared to other players, but because we put him at such a high level and he's at such a high standing, then it seems like they are. But then yeah, so yeah, basically Rice has been the best this season in my opinion. The second question, which for me is the most exciting question, I mean, this is like the biggest game of the season, well, in my opinion anyways. Who is lifting the Women's Champions League trophy on Saturday? Is it Arsenal or is it Barca? The poll results show that 62% of you said Arsenal, 38% Barca. Barca are obviously the favourites. I feel like I've got a lot of more Gooners than I do Barca fans on my Instagram, which is obviously where you can go react to the poll and contribute to this podcast, basically. So if you haven't already, it's loose.case on Instagram, on TikTok, you name it, it's that. Yeah, I feel like Barcelona obviously the favourites to win. They've won it countless times in the last few years. They just dominate. I mean, what they did to Chelsea, crazy, winning 8-2 over 2 legs, mental. And then you look at how dominant Chelsea have been in the WSL, and if Barca can do that to them, I'm actually scared what they can do to us. But I'm obviously going to get into my predictions at the end of this episode. I'm feeling optimistic. I think, yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys. I think, yeah, Arsenal can do it. I know that there's so much bias on my Instagram. Realistically, I'm like, oh, Barcelona probably could do it, but it just depends who scores in the first 5-10 minutes, in my opinion. But obviously, or even like 30 minutes, 20-30 minutes, I'd say, actually. Obviously, I'm going to get to that at the end of this episode with my predictions. It's going to be a quick episode, like I said in the intro, but stick around because, yeah, you can just bop along to this if you're on a little hot girl walk or on a train journey, whatever you're doing with your life, bop along and stay along to this. Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0. The one time I predicted that Newcastle would actually beat Arsenal, the one time I predicted that Arsenal would actually lose, is the one time that they actually don't. So this is sort of why I'm like, maybe I should carry on being delusional, which I'm definitely going to be doing in my predictions if you stick around for the next 5-10 minutes. This game, I'm going to be completely honest, I was watching the Women's FA Cup. I was at Wembley Stadium. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see there was an unreal event by the BBC, basically bringing women together, because this is really me going off topic, but this is such an exciting summer for women's sport. We have cricket, we have rugby, we have football, we have tennis. I feel like we have more things that I'm just missing out in my head, but we had, like, it was such a great event to get excited for that. So because of that event, I didn't actually watch the game. I've just seen highlights, and like I sort of said in the warm-up polls, Rice was the standout player because he found the net when he needed to. This game does mean, which I think, obviously no matter what happened on the pitch, like, it seemed like a decent performance as a whole from what I've seen and what I've heard. But ultimately, this game and these 3 points by Rice getting that one goal, this means that we have secured Champions League football for next season, which obviously we've just faced heartbreak. We've just been knocked out of the Champions League. So now at least there's confidence that we're going to be in it again next season, and hopefully we can keep progressing. We have basically also secured second spot as well, which is obviously very good because it means both the men and women have come second in their respective leagues, which is something that I thought in the last month we both were dropping off a little bit, both the men's and women's side, that I was like, right, this isn't looking too good. And I think you just, when you've been second the whole time, you need to stick with that. So it's good that we managed to do it with the women. With the men, I think City would have to win like 10-0 or something because of the goal difference. They could get the same points as us, but goal difference wise would be above them. So I'm happy with that. I feel like obviously it's the result we wanted, not the result I predicted. But like I said, this is quite a brief reflection of the game because, yeah, moving on quick. But yeah, I'm happy with how that went. For the last time for the 24-25 season, here's my predictions. So this week we have 2 games. One of them, not the biggest game. The other one, the biggest game of the season, in my opinion. So we have the biggest game of the season on Saturday. It is Arsenal versus Barcelona in the Champions League final. It is at 5 p.m. It's out in Lisbon. I'm not going to be there, but there's going to be screenings all around basically England. There's going to be one at the Emirates, which I'm very excited to go. So let me know if you're going, because I feel like a lot of us Gooners that weren't able to get out due to whatever reason, not being able to afford it, not being able to access it, aren't going out to Lisbon. So let me know if you're in Emirates, because I feel like it could be a vibe. Also, actually, real quick on that, this kind of bit random, I feel like I did it a bit, like I mentioned this topic slightly last episode, but I just want to de-influence you guys that not everyone's going out to Lisbon. I think I've been meeting a lot of people and everyone seems to be going out to Lisbon. They're flying out today, they flew out yesterday, going on Friday morning, come back Monday. Like, I'm hearing all these stories. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But not everyone's going. Like, I think there's so much pressure with social media that it feels like everyone's going to Lisbon, but they're not. Like, they're genuinely not. So if you're not going like I'm not going, I don't want you to feel bad about yourself, because I was like, I'm working and like money, why, like, how are people able to do this? Not everyone's going to be doing that. So that is just me de-influencing you slightly, because wherever you're going to be watching it, it's going to be a good vibe. It's going to be such a tough game. I mean, in terms of predictions, I think it's going to penalties. Like, I genuinely do. If we score in the first 20 minutes, basically, I think it'll be like a 2-2 vibe. and then it could get to extra time and then penalties. I think Mariona Caldente for us, she's going to be a very standout player. I mean, she's won it numerous times with Barcelona. Mariona has actually come out and said that she won't celebrate if she scores, but I can't imagine if it's some like 93rd minute winner and then she's just like scores and she's like, okay guys. Like, I can't imagine that happening. I feel like if Mariona scores, she probably will end up celebrating. Or if she doesn't, she might just be stood there like, guys, that happened. All the players will be around her celebrating. So either way, let's just hope she scores so we can see what happens. But yeah, like, just going back to what I said, like, obviously, if you're not going out to Lisbon, it will still be a good vibe. I feel like there are places you can go to. And even watching it at home, like, that's cool. Like, as long as you're tuning in, if maybe you predominantly watch the men's side, this is your moment to get into the women's side and to watch them, because this is the final. The men couldn't get to the final. The women have got to the final. So this is your moment to get into the women's game, because honestly, I'm buzzing. I feel like I'm actually getting a little bit, I feel like I'm not getting emotional now. Don't worry, guys. I'm just sat in my room chilling. I'm not getting emotional now. But I feel like on the day, like, this is such a big event. This is the first time in 18 years. I think people overlooking how big this actually is. If you're a hardcore Arsenal women's fan, you know it's a big moment, but like Arsenal fans in general, or just football fans in general, aren't seeing it as how big it is massive. There is a lot of pressure in it, and when it's Barcelona, the expectations are that they're going to win, so that's why I'd love for it to go to like extra time or something. DVD is still a bit of a question mark, which is kind of a bit concerning, because don't get me wrong, Zinsberger did have a good last game of the season. Obviously, I spoke about that last episode, so check that out if you haven't. I was singing her praises because she did perform very well in the last game against United. But then she did make a couple of silly mistakes, and that's sort of what we can't afford in the finals. So I'm hoping DVD will be back, but it's like concussion protocol, because it was an ankle injury, and now I think it's gone concussion as well. Like, I feel like there's a few things. Someone might want to fact check me. I probably should have done that. But yeah, so it's not looking too likely, but I'm hoping she can get the squad. I mean, we're on Wednesday right now, and this is on Saturday, so we've got Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We've got 3 days away, so I don't have to manually work that out. But yeah, we've got a few days, so we'll see. But moving on to the Sunday, obviously Saturday, I'm going to still be recovering, like, whatever the result is, basically. Sunday is Southampton versus Arsenal. It's the last game of the Premier League, and like I said, we've secured second. No matter the scoring, we'll come second if we win. So we have to win, because City face Fulham, and they're the ones just below us, and if they win, which is quite likely, I mean, actually, I'd say it's quite likely. City's form has been so mixed this season. They've just obviously lost in the FA Cup final to Palace, which, by the way, someone living in Croydon, like myself, it's been such a vibe, because the minute the full-time whistle went, I could just hear all my neighbours shouting, Eagles, Eagles, and I was like, this is funny. Like, it feels so nice when teams that aren't meant to win it on paper end up winning, like Newcastle, Palace. It's been refreshing. So that's why also I'm like, oh, could Arsenal beat Barca, because there seems to be a theme that the underdogs are winning. And obviously Arsenal will be the underdogs going into that final, like I've just said. But yeah, last game of the season, we have to win it to come second, basically. But we've secured Champions League football for next season, and I guess it's just when the competition starts for us, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm feeling quite confident with that one. We'll just have to see what happens, because Southampton obviously are the bottom of like the lowest Premier League tally, or like pretty much the lowest, like point wise. So I'm hoping we don't get humbled and end up losing or drawing, but we should win it. So I'm feeling confident. So once again, I've predicted 2 wins for 2 games, but the first one on Saturday is so like iffy. Like, I'm not 100% sure on like my score prediction, but I'm hoping it can come true. Hopefully. Okay, perfect. That is the end of episode 29 of the Arsenal Humans podcast. I hope you're watching it. It's basically the end of the season, so this is the last time I'm going to be doing predictions until summer friendlies, which aren't starting until July, so we've got 2 months. I will keep you guys updated on my socials or on here as to what I'm going to be doing, but obviously there'll be an episode next week, because we need to reflect on that big final that we have for the women in the Champions League, and then also just reflect on the Premier League, because that will be ending. The UWCL has obviously finished, and I think next week will be a good time to reflect on the season as a whole, and hopefully with some silverware for Arsenal, because that's been one thing, especially with the men's game. I mean, Spurs United play tonight in the Europa League final, so one of them will be getting silverware, and if Arsenal as a whole we don't get silverware. The men obviously haven't done it, but if Arsenal as a whole don't get silverware, then we're going to be worse than like Spurs potentially, which is really not what we want to do. So yeah, stay tuned for that for next week. If you are enjoying this, please make sure you subscribe. I've actually reached 400 subscribers, but if you are enjoying this, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. That sounds so weird to say, subscribe to my channel. Because somehow I've actually reached 400 subscribers, which might not seem a lot, but it is a milestone that I've hit, and I'm very proud to hit because it's one that I set myself a couple months ago when I saw how things were going, and I was like, realistically, I could do this, but I just need the backing of you guys. So thank you if you are a subscriber. If you're not, why not? Like, subscribe, guys, come on. But yeah, if you are enjoying the video, like it, comment down below who you think will be winning that final, and also just any thoughts on the season as a whole, because next week I'll be reading out some and I will just be going through it all. And if you are listening on Spotify, please follow me on there and give me a 5-star review if you're enjoying it.